Now, our camera is positioned perfectly behind our vehicle as it drives down the scene. What we're going to do is we're just going to clean up our code just a little bit to make it easier to understand. In our follow player script, I mentioned that it's really bad to have hard-coded values. So we're actually going to take this vector3 we've created and create a variable for it. So this one will make a private variable, so it can only be used inside of this class. So I'm just going to use the keyword private here so you can see how it's used. Very similar to a public variable. And for this, because we're making a vector3, we need to make this variable a type of vector3, and we'll call it the offset. Now we set this variable to be this value here. So in fact, we can just cut by Control or Command X with the code highlighted, and then we go to where we had the offset and we paste with Control or Command V. So now our offset vector variable is being set to that new vector that we made before with our offset position already added to it. So now in our update method, we can just add where we removed that bit of code, the word offset, and because offset is a vector3 being added onto a vector3, then we can set our position properly. Make sure you save, go back into Unity and press play, and you should see that nothing has changed, which is exactly what we wanted to happen. So what you're going to do is in your follow player script, you're going to create some of variables of your own. You're going to make a private vector3 variable called offset, and you're going to initialize it by assigning it that new vector3 offset that we had created down in our update method. And then you're going to remove that new vector3 line and just replace it with the word offset. So that way, it's always just using the offset variable, and if we ever need to change our offset numbers, we can just do that here at the top of our code. And then just make sure that you press play and test to see that it's working exactly like it should. Now it's your turn.
Okay, let's do it. Copy pasta. All right, got it. Okay. Oops. Hey, let me bring it down here. Boop. Okay. And here we go. All right. Public, private. All right. So private. Three. Offset equals. And we got two. Okay. And we can make you. That's a private? Jesus Christ, email. Okay. Just. Okay. Alright. Clean. Save. Got greens. Update. We got updates. Test. I'm confused. Okay, let's look at this again. And it will always get you. Why did you say it was green then? You asshole. Works. We. Alright, got it. Poop. Whoopsie. Alright. Moving on. These are the mistakes we're gonna make. Might as well own them up. Own up to it. Smooth the camera with late update. You may have noticed the camera's kind of jittery as the car drives down the road. Let's fix that.
Okay, now that we have our camera following our vehicle properly, you might notice that there's a weird effect happening with the vehicle itself where it's kind of stuttering back and forth. And so we can make one small change to our follow player script to make our vehicle move super smoothly. Now, essentially, what's happening is in our update method, our vehicle and our camera are both moving at the same time. So sometimes the vehicle might move first and then the camera might move, but other times the camera might move and then the vehicle will move. And so it creates this stuttering effect. A simple thing that we can do with our update method is change it to late update with a capital L, make sure there's no space so it's all one word. And with this late update method, essentially what it will do is update after our update method happens. So if you remember, for our vehicle, it's moving through the update method, constantly moving forward, and then late update is called, which will then move our camera after the vehicle is moved. So if I save this script using Control S or Command S on a Mac, head back over to Unity and then test out our script to see if it works, we'll press play, and you can see now that the vehicle is moving much smoother because of that late update method, where the vehicle moves first and then late update happens, making the camera move to follow the vehicle. So, what you're going to do is head into your follow player script, and where update is, we're going to change that to late update with a capital L and a capital U, no space, so it's all one word. Once you've changed update to late update, make sure to save your script using Control or Command S. Head back into Unity and test out your project using the play button, and you should no longer see your vehicle stuttering in your camera frame. Now it's your turn.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Bring this down here. Let's bring up the code. Okay. So, excuse me. And once again, an update. Okay, give me a second. Okay. Okay. So we're just gonna change update to. Oops. And that's it. Interesting. And this will fix camera jitteriness. Oops, wrong one. And let's take a look. There we go. And there we go. Look at that. Works like a charm. Okay, let's continue. Let's mark this one as done. So, oops. Okay, this one's done. Sorry. Edit the play mode tint color. We're going to be creating and editing variables. We need to make sure we don't accidentally try to make changes when in play mode. Okay. Um, let's see what this is about.
Our camera is now well set up in our game to be behind the player, and we even added in some variables to make our code more organized. Now we're actually going to fiddle around with our Unity interface again, just like we changed the layout, but this time with a very helpful tip to know when you're playing your game. So you can see when you play the game, your interface goes from a light gray to a dark gray, which is helpful, but not entirely visible. So I'm going to show you a cool little trick that I do so it's really easy for me to know when I'm in play mode. At the very top left of Unity, there's an edit button. If you're on Mac, there will be a Unity button and then you click Preferences. From my edit menu, I have a Preferences option as well. Now, in our preferences, we have all of these different options. Right now we're on General. There's one down here called Colors, and specifically, there's an option here called Play Mode Tint. So this is actually what controls the tint of our interface when we're in play mode. So if I select this by clicking on it, you see it brings up a color picker. So you can pick colors yourself, you can move it around, you can change the opacity so that it's more clear, or if you want it to be really dark and really visible, entirely up to you. So I have a setting that I like to use, so I'm just going to type in values for myself. So 157, 194, 239, and then we'll make this like 150. So now I should have a fairly transparent light blue. So I can close out of my preferences. You can see that it actually saves it immediately when you set that color. Close out of the preferences. Now when I press play, you should see a bluish tint pop up over all of my window. So that's super helpful. So now I know when I'm editing values, if I'm in play mode or if I'm in my scene. And so that way I don't accidentally change something that just gets reset and then I don't remember what the value is. So very helpful tip, just something to make your life a little bit easier as you're testing your game out and trying to figure out why, for example, if you click on something, it's not moving or whatever. So what you're going to do is in the top left of your editor, you're going to see an edit or a Unity button. Click on that. Go down to preferences, click on that. You'll see this preferences window pop up. You can click on the colors option. Under the colors, the very first one under general should be play mode tint. If you click on that, you can select different colors. You can change the opacity. And then when you exit, it saves your color. You can exit out of preferences. So then when you play your game, you can see when you've entered play mode, which is really handy. So now it's your turn.
All right. Here we go. All right. Boop. Okay. Oh, sorry. I always forget to read. I just get really excited. Okay. Edit. Colors. Okay. Got it. Edit. Select preferences. Interesting. Colors.